private parts. You gotta do all these different things. They're searching, they're knocking your stuff over, and even though the rules and the regulations say they're supposed to like put your stuff back, the way they found it, they don't do that. So you have to like clean up your cell after they leave, after they don't trash your stuff. You gotta clean up your cell. You just expose your private parts to this guy. And it's different guys all the time. So it's like that dehumanization, and this behavior that kind of like just breeds this anger, and it creates like this uneasiness in you. So it's like all these different things, and bullpen therapy, waiting for long hours to see the judge, traveling back and forth.
Tell them what bullpen therapy is.
Or bullpen therapy, it's just like it's like a process. Like me, for instance, I was a red ID. Red ID means you gotta go to court with like mittens. They found a weapon in my cell. Oftentimes, I'm not trying to hear it wasn't yours. That was your cell. And sometimes they don't even inspect the cell. Like they're supposed to inspect the cell or whatever. Sometimes they just throw the sheet in there, like they search your cell. And nobody goes into their cell and like search their cell to see if there's a weapon in here or whatever the case might be. And even if you search your cell, you might not find a weapon. So, they found a weapon in my cell. They gave me a red ID, which means like I'm labeled now. You know what I'm saying? So I'm walking around with a red ID, which means, oh, this guy he likes to carry weapons. So when I go to court, I have to wear like this big black mittens, and I used to be chained up. So like the mittens used to be chained up to my waist, and my feet used to be shackled, and I used to have like an orange jumpsuit. So, you're in the bullpen, you're waiting for hours to see the judge, hours. Everything is like backed up because it's like so many like stupid arrests, so it backs up the system. So it's like you're waiting hours to just go see the judge for a few minutes. It's people coming from the outside that, you might be in a court. It's people coming from the outside, it's people coming from the inside that's still in prison to go see the same judges. So it's like, it's very horrible. Like, you're in there for most of the day. So traveling back and forth, going to the island, getting stripped, doing all these different things. Because when you go to court, you got to get stripped. So it's like, it's this constant, annoying, it's frustrating, all these different things that you're going through. So oftentimes people that already been upstate, they'll be like encouraging other people like, yo, you might as well just cop out, go upstate, because it's like this shit, they don't do this shit upstate. So people is looking at it like, when you go upstate, you don't go through this process. You're not continuously going to court. They're not like searching your house. They're not stripping you. They're not doing all of this. Unless you go to the visit, you're going to get stripped when you come back. Unless there's like some suspicion that they said like you had something, drugs or something. But they will take you somewhere. It's kind of like different. So a lot of people that been upstate already, they knew like what it was. They just be like, look, I'm just trying to get the low plea and I'm trying to go upstate. So, a lot of like older guys, they was kind of like telling me the same thing. Like, you might as well just cop out, you did it. Like, it was this older guy, me and him, because I was going to trial, because I was like justified in my shooting. This dude came to my house, and so they have like a defense justification, which means I was justified in my shooting, but I'm not justified for possessing a illegal firearm. You can't justify that. So, and they gave me criminal possession in the second degree, which means we didn't have to recover the gun, but it just means at some point in time you possessed the firearm. And it was just crazy. Somebody said something. He obviously had a wound, and it was like, okay, so this must be true. He said you did it, whatever. So they didn't find no gun, but just on criminal possession of a weapon, I could have got 15 years, which was the max, if I went to trial. So my lawyer was like, look, you're justified in the shooting, but however, you're not gonna get around the gun. So I ended up taking 7 years. I was in trial, but then it was like, I don't know, I felt like uneasy about it. And I was just like, so like after I picked my jury and everything, I just ended up taking 7 years. But it was definitely, I spoke to this guy, they had gave him 25 years to life, and me and him was having a conversation, and he was just like, I was like, I'm going to trial, man, like I don't care, like no, I'm not trying to hear nothing, like I'm going to trial, like nah, man, like whatever. And he was just like, he said, yo, I was just like you, man. He was like, he said, I was the same way, I was like, nah, I'm going to trial, I'm this and that, I'm not taking nothing. And then he was like, look at me now. He was like, I appealed, they gave me, I gave back the life, all I had to do was 25 years. He said, but look at me now. I went blind in one eye, I got a cane, my health is bad, he was like, and this is what happened to me while I was in prison. He was like, and I knew I did it. I knew I was wrong. And he was just like, but I was like, nah, I'm fighting. I'm trying to get away. And he just basically told me like, you can take these 7 years, go upstate, come back, you still be young enough to do something with your life. He was like, you see me, my health is deteriorating. I'm messed up. I can't really do much. And he was basically just telling me that, and I was just like, man, I'm not trying to hear all that. Like, it sound good, you know. And I kind of like felt where he was coming from, but I was just like, nah, man, I'm not facing that much time. You know, they telling me like, if I blow trial, I could get. The judge said, oh, it's your first time offender. I'll give him like 12 years. And I'm like, you know, in my mind, I'm like, what's the difference between 7 and 12? You know, like my lawyer's like, come on, be serious. But I'm just looking at it like, I understand if you told me like, yo, if you blow a trial, I'm gonna give you 25, or you could take the 7 right now. Like that's something I'd be like, okay, you know. But then it's like when you're telling me like, I'll give you from 10 to 15, maybe 12. It's like that's like 3 more years from 7. You know what I'm saying? Like, shouldn't I take the chance? You know, so it's like kind of like different.
What was the jury like? You said that you chose jury members because they give you a certain number of jury members,
Yeah.
and then you get to dismiss certain people, right? So that's why if you really have to do the jury duty and you don't want to, just act like a nut job when it comes time for them to dismiss you, and they'll be like, no, that person's too crazy, and they'll get thrown off. But tell them what kind of jury members you had.
Well, I was in the Bronx, so I think compared to like the other boroughs, you really kind of like have a jury of your peers in the Bronx. You know, it wasn't a lot of white people. There was majority of them was for like between the ages of like 18 and like 28. You know, it was a few white people. It wasn't a lot of them. It was a lot of blacks and mostly Latinos. So it was kind of like, I felt ease, but I also know like today, like back then I didn't really know like, you know, a lot about like anti-blackness and all this other crazy stuff. But like looking back at it, like I'd be like, man, like I should have never felt that ease, you know, having a lot of Spanish people or whatever the case might be, because I understand like how anti-blackness works, you know, in a lot of different communities. So, but you know, back then I was just like, you know, this is people from my community, you know, Spanish, brown, you know, so I was kind of like, okay. Usually, we had like 60 people, I think, or probably more than that. Probably was, I seen some people that I knew, some people that I went to school with, middle school. It was, you know, the DA is explaining, it was crazy because the judge explains the